Ever since I posted my $30 budget Mastemon starter deck profile and guide, I know many of you guys couldn't wait for this video to come out. So I started playtesting immediately and did a whole lot of research for the deck with different ratios, tech cards, and played with different variations. And the whole goal is to get the best information and gather them all together into this one video. And at last, I can finally present to you guys the ultimate guide for Mastemon in BT8. Hello Digimon players and fans, welcome back to another Digimon deck profile and in-depth building guide video. Now first things first, if you haven't seen the $30 budget Mastemon starter deck video guide yet, then I would highly recommend you to check that out first. Links will be in the description box down below or in the iCard left on the top right. Just like last time with the ultimate Imperialdramon deck building guide, I decided to do the same for Mastemon this time in this video. I generally prefer the consistency with the decks I play, therefore the build I'm showcasing today is fairly standard, which is why the tech segment discussion portion of this video becomes very crucial to help you make the best decision for yourself. However, there are a few really important things I need to clarify with you guys first. This deck is not budget friendly at all. As a matter of fact, it could be considered as one of the most expensive decks of the BT8 format. With that being said though, it is a very strong tier 1 contender deck that you can definitely take in the competitive scene. The second really important thing to keep in mind is that this deck does tend to brick. And there are some occasions you brick so hard, you end up passing your turn over and over again. And that is because you play very abnormal ratios in this deck. Thirdly, is that playing this deck requires a very different mindset and approach when it comes to memory gauge especially. You actually need to learn to be more generous in giving memory and aggressive for the sake of getting into the late game combo stage. Otherwise, you just get bulldozed by all the other decks and you didn't even have a chance to play. However, don't let these few key points that I mentioned just now discourage you from playing this deck. Like always, I got you covered because we got a strategy of how to play guide and combo segment after the deck profile as well, so you definitely want to stick around. One last really key important point though, and that is if you haven't subscribed yet, then be sure to do so right now and turn on that notification bell. We got lots more BT8 and EX2 deck profiles and content all about Digimon coming soon, so definitely you want to stay tuned for those videos. Also give this video a like as it just really helps. Well, with that out of the way, let's get started with the deck profile. Alright, Digi8 cards. Let's start off with the 4 copies of Naromon from the most recent Mastemon starter deck, and then we got the 1 Demi-Meramon right here. Like I mentioned in so many of my other deck profiles, in this format, draw power is just really crucial, or just generally really important for all decks. So our eggs all revolve around draw power. Naromon is if we have a yellow Digimon in play, when attacking, we get to draw 1 and trash 1, which is good. So sometimes we can get this going like multiple times. And then Demi-Meramon is basically the second best egg in purple generally, because on deletion you get to draw and trash 1. So yeah, drawing combo pieces is really crucial in this deck because it is slow and you need to get there fast with these eggs. Alright, so let's get into our rookies. Let's start off with the yellow rookies because we first have the 2 copies of Salamon. Simply end of turn you can DNA Digivolve. It comes up every now and then. Next up we have 2 copies of Candlemon. This one also gives an inheritable of your turn once per turn. When you play another purple Digimon, you get to gain a memory. So both these inheritables do come up every now and then, which is kind of nice to have, but they're not really crucial and necessary to the core of what the deck does. So that's it for the yellow rookies. Now let's move into the purple rookies, which I think is a little bit more important. We have the 2 copies of Gazimon and the 2 copies of Psychmon. Both these guys are basically floodgates to counter different matchups. Gazimon stops memory gaining, which is more generic and good to countering against most matchups. And then we have Psychmon, which mainly counters decks that hard play and reduce hard play costs, and mainly that would be something like Imperialdramon, where they have their Stingmon, or it could even be Beelstarmon. Honestly, sometimes I feel like having an extra Gazi, like 3 copies, can be pretty good simply because it's just more generic. However, 2 and 2 just works out great generally anyways. So that's it for the 8 rookies, and let's get into our champions. Our champions really is just all about this Gatomon right here from the starter deck. This Gatomon is just so good and so crucial. First and foremost, you would not play any less of this copies. You have to maximize it at 4 no matter which variant of Mastemon you're building in particular. She is your on-play searcher, and she can hit so many things in helping you get your combo pieces, which is crucial. On play, you review the top 3 cards, you get to add 1 yellow and 1 purple Digimon card to your hand, and then you put the rest in the bottom. Also, she reduces your Archangels and Fallen Angels Digivolutions by cost of 2, meaning that when you digivolve her into the level 5, you're only paying 1 memory, which is really good. And also it has a inheritable effect similar to the Salamon, which we showcased earlier, where at the end of the turn you can DNA digivolve, which is very important to the combos when we get into it later on. Now, generally, you'll be hard playing this card all the time, and you'll be paying the 5 memory, which sometimes may feel really steep at the beginning. However, it does pay off widely, and you always want to be doing that, really. So, 4 copies of this Gatomon right here. Next up, for the other level 4, we have 2 Black Gatomons here. This one's more also okay for digivolving. It has Rush, and it provides Retaliation as an inheritable, which comes up in quite nice. There's sometimes in some combos, which again I'll mention later in the combo segment, where the Rush comes in very handy just to swing in for game, and the Retaliation can help take out big strong Digimon as well. So that's it for the level 4s with the Gatomon and the Black Gatomon, and moving into level 5s, which is where we're going to be spending most of our time talking about, and as we move towards the top end as well. Let's start off with the purple Lady Devimon sort of package. We first off have the 3 copies of the BT3 Lady Devimon, and then we have the 2 copies of the starter deck one. First and foremost, the BT3 one is still generally just the best one, because when digivolving you get to draw 2 and trash 2, not to mention you also draw an extra for digivolving, meaning you're really drawing 3 cards and then trashing 2, and that helps you just get into your combo pieces and see the cards that you need in your hand as soon as possible, and she's really just the best one. And then her inheritable of once per turn, when you do play an option card or use an option card, you get to delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon, which comes in handy and quite helpful in some scenarios. And then we have the starter deck Lady Devimon, where it's also when digivolving, she helps you searches, which is really neat, because you can trash 1 card from your hand, and then you can review the top 3 cards of your deck, and you add 1 yellow and 1 purple card with Archangel, Angel, Fallen Angel into your hand to basically search for more level 5s or your level 6s. And then her inheritable of your turn, all of your yellow Digimon gain Retaliation does come up nicely as well every now and then. But that's the 5 copies of the Lady Devimon for purple right here. And then let's quickly talk about the yellow. Right here we have the 2 copies of Angelwomon from the starter deck as well, which partners up with the Lady Devimon. On play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2 security until the end of their turn. And then I really like her inheritable mainly simply because it provides security +1 while you have a purple Digimon in play, allowing your top end to swing for 2 checks. And I really like that aggressive playstyle, and sometimes I kind of want to play a 3 of. However, we have to keep the space because the 3 slots actually belong to Magna Angemon in here. This one is simply on play, you recover 1, the 1 from BT1, and you have a inheritable of giving your top end extra 1000 DP for every 3 security you have as well. Now I know that this current BT1 Magna Angemon is incredibly pricey, even just for 1 copy. And some of you guys who are watching right now would sort of want to see what other recommendations I have. Now, my first recommendation is you definitely need at least 1 Magna Angemon. Period. And it's just that crucial to the deck. Now, if you can get yourself 1 copy, you can fill in the other 2 slots with the Angelwomon and play 4 copies of the Angelwomon instead. And overall, to sum it up, it is important to keep it at least to a 5 yellow level 5s, because it becomes very vital for you to balance out with your level 5 purples when you do digivolve into Mastemon, and you don't want to ruin any of that type of consistency when doing so. So that's it basically for the level 5 yellows. We're actually not done with the level 5s just yet, because we've got 2 more cards right here where we have the 2 copies of Beelzemon Chaos Mode. Once again, this card is getting relatively pricey, but not as pricey as the Magna Angemon at the time of filming this video. However, Beelzemon Chaos Mode is also a very vital, important piece to this deck, and I would not play any more or less copies of this card. I would only play more copies if you have a very different build and strategy But in this particular version, 2 is just good enough in most standards. And that's all you really need. You would rarely want to be hard playing this card from your hand, but sometimes you got to do that if you got to do it. But mainly it's on play or when digivolving. You can delete one of your opponent's Tamers or a level 6 or lower Digimon where he combos so strong and so well with the Mastemon when we get to talk about it, especially showcasing you guys in the combos later. But yeah, 2 copies right there. That's it for the level 5s. Now let's showcase you guys the level 6s. Of course, what this whole deck is all about. It's about Mastemon, so we definitely have the 4 copies of this new Mastemon right here from the starter deck. She does so many things, and she is just so powerful. She requires a level 5 yellow and a level 5 purple to DNA Digivolve. When you do Digivolve it, you can place 1 yellow or purple Digimon card from your trash to the top of your security stack. When you do DNA Digivolve, you can search your security stack and play 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card from it without paying its memory cost. And then you shuffle your security stack. And keep in mind, you'll always be wanting to DNA Digivolve with this card all the time to get the full effects all going. But also it has a secondary effect where all turns, when you play a Digimon using an effect, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon whose level is less than or equal to that Digimon in particular. Not only that, she has 13k DP, which is really strong and really beefy generally. And this card is, yeah, really pretty, really nice artwork. I really love it. And yeah, she's just that good. We're not done with level 6s. We actually got a couple more to showcase. We got 2 copies of Ophanimon Fall Down Mode right here. She can Digivolve for 2 on top of Ophanimon, but we don't play any regular Ophanimons at all. So her other effects benefit greatly from this deck as well, because when Digivolving, if you have a purple in its sources, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon that is level 4 or lower. And if you have a yellow Digimon in her sources, you can recover +1. And then also she has an undeletion where you can play a purple or yellow level 4 from your trash without paying memory cost. This card generally is just a very strong powerhouse all by itself especially in the early stages of the game when you don't see your Mastemon combo. You will just Digivolve on top of your level 5 and you have this level 6 on the board, and you apply so many pressure onto your opponent, giving you a bit of sustainability with her recovery and a bit of control aspect with her deletion effects, which is just really, really good. And yeah, I think 2 copies is just a really good amount in this deck. And then to round off for the level 6, I have 1 tech card right here, which is Creepymon. Now, Creepymon is really good as a tech, and I think you definitely want to run a one-of, and it's just stay as a one-off in this particular deck. That is because in certain mirror matchups or against grindy matchups, Creepymon is your sneaky way to win the game. To help you guys understand a little bit more why it's so good is that when Digivolving, you trash 2 cards from your deck for each of your opponent's Digimon in play. And if you trash up to 4, you can play a level 5 from your trash without paying memory cost. But the major thing is that when you get into the grindy matchups and your opponent doesn't have many cards left in their deck and you would have a huge stack in your trash, that's when you would go for Creepymon, where you, when attacking once per turn, for every 10 cards in your trash, you get to trash the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and then this Digimon gets 3000 DP for the turn. Now, if you have 20 cards in your trash, you get to trash 6 of your top of your opponent's deck. And if you have 30, you can trash 9. And often enough, Creepymon will win you those games just by decking your opponent out like that in the late game scenario. And once again, Creepymon is really incredibly essential, especially in the mirror match. With Mastemon being super popular in this format, you're going to see a lot of those in tournaments. And that's how Creepymon is going to help you win games against other certain matchups like Security Control, potentially as well, and Yellow Hybrid. And it's just that good of a tech card. And you definitely do need it against those particular matchups. So yeah, that's Creepymon right there. So that's it for our level 6s. We do have level 7s where we play 2 Zwart defeats right here. Once again, 2 is a really good number generally for this deck, I think. Mainly, you can Digivolve on top of your 6s to pop your opponent's Tamers to control the board even more. Generally, you don't always want to be doing that because all your level 6s have useful effects while being present. So you only really want to do it when you really feel like you necessarily have to, and if you feel like you're getting a lot of advantages. But also when being able to pop out from security is just really great, right? You know, Zwart defeat comes out, it's GG, and you just mad swing with Zwart defeat. So what else can I say about Zwart defeat? So that's it for the Digimon. Let's show you guys the Tamers. For Tamers, I only run 3 Karis right here. She's your memory setter, very simple, but also when a card is added to your security stack, you can suspend her during your turn to gain a memory, which is really, really helpful. And it just combos very nicely with your MagnaAngemon, Ophanimon, and your Mastemon as well. So you can gain that memory back when you do add something back to your security, which is really fantastic, especially with MagnaAngemon. She makes MagnaAngemon into a 6 cost drop. And it's just especially valuable when your opponent has a memory tamer as well, where you start your turn at 3 and then they would start their turn at 3. Then you can just hard drop the MagnaAngemon right there. And that's perfect value with Kari. So that's it for Tamers. She is our only Tamer. Let's show you guys options. I think this first one right here is Ophanimon's signature move, which is Flame Hell Scythe. This option is insanely good. Minus 6,000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you get to play a yellow or purple Digimon from your trash that has 6,000 DP or less. You can target so many of your different level 5s in this deck, and it just gives you, again, a lot of value by doing so. And with the 6 cost, yeah, you're getting so much board presence from this card. And yeah, I would just max it at 4, honestly. I think this was the best option of the deck. Next, we still have like the second best option of the deck. In my opinion, I think we have the Chaos Degradation right here. I play 2 copies. I originally played 3, and I like this card, honestly. The removal aspect, especially of it coming out security, is really great. But having 3 makes it very bricky, and I didn't like that at all. There are some times that I draw so many of this card, I just don't need it. So I think 2 copies is more suitable for me. The main and the security effect is slightly different. The main, you place one of your opponent's Digimon face down into top or bottom of the security stack, and then you trash the top of your opponent's security stack. Really, really good card because there's no protection against this particular type of removal. And then the security effect is basically the same as the first part, where you just place one of your opponent's Digimon face down, top or bottom of their security stack, and that's it. So you don't get the trash, which is not as good, but it's still a pretty good removal generally. So that's it. Now, another expensive option right here. We have one Dead or Alive. This is more dedicated for Beelzemon, and I like it as a tech. Sometimes, I'd say most of the times, I don't really need this card, but when it does happen and when it does pop off, it's really, really great. You mainly want to have your Beelzemon Chaos Mode in your trash to when you activate this card, ideally, because you play a level 5 Digimon from your trash. That has to be purple, though. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you can play one Digimon card with Beelzemon in its name without paying memory cost. This secondary effect is more dedicated to the yellow Beelzemon, that's level 3 back in BT4, but we don't play that in this deck at all. So that's really it. Allowing you to play a Beelzemon. That's really it for Dead or Alive. Now, let's go into more options. We still have more options. We have, I guess, these are the sort of memory boost options. I play 3 purple memory boosts right here. Searching is really, really important and really vital in this deck. And purple memory boost is just really, really good to help you get your purple Digimon, search for your Gaudomon early game. And in the early stages, if you don't see your combo pieces, this is the card that you always want to be playing as much as you can to grab. And then, delay is always nice to gain extra 2 memory. And then next, we got 1 reinforcing memory boost, the best memory boost option in the game, because this one has delay giving you 3 memory. And also for the 6 cost, you review the top 2 cards of your deck, adding 1 to their security and then the other to your hand, which is fantastic and lots of value as well. And then last but not least, to round off, we have 1 Calling from the Darkness. This is a very nice tech card that you can combo quite neatly with Ophanimon, which I really like because you can pop things and then you can add more resources back, especially in the late game. So just 1 is really good. So that's it for all the cards in our main deck. Now let's go into some sort of alternative and substitute suggestions for different ways that you want to play for the Mastemon deck overall. The first thing I want to showcase you guys is what I like to call the scatter mode or the Eismon package right here. Now the Eismon package is a very good way to help you turbo your cards even faster. The biggest suggestion is that you're gonna have to take out a lot of different cards to make room for this package, because not only you have Eismon scatter mode and Eismon, you also really want to be playing the Gabumon from the BT2 to combine along together for all the turbo trashing capabilities. Also, another quick note is that if you ever choose to play this package, it would actually make sense to play 4 Demi-Meramons and 1 Yaromon for your eggs instead, so that it can help synergize your trashing capabilities way more faster too. So I personally didn't like that too much because deck space was so tight, and I like my current build more. So I didn't really opt in for this Eismon package right here, which I like to call it. Next up, we actually have one Wizardmon. Wizardmon is like a cheap Digivolve 2 color for you when you need to. Some people play it, some people don't. I generally feel like I don't need it, but if you guys feel like you'd like to have that, then go for it. This next card is very spicy, I think, because we have an Angemon from BT8. When you do Digivolve, when this Digimon would Digivolve, you can recover +1. And also its inheritable is when attacking, if you have 3 or more security, you can bounce a level 3, which is kind of nice and kind of decent. The only thing I don't like about it is because it's blue. And you can really only Digivolve this card into a yellow level 5, which doesn't happen all that often, and I don't feel like we get a whole lot of value out of it. So I personally don't really like this card, but I have seen people play it and it has worked for them. So just giving you guys an extra suggestion right here. And I think it's just kind of spicy too. Next, I want to showcase you guys some of the Tamer specials. We have one TK right here, where I know some people play 1 TK and 2 Karis instead. TK is great for searching, to add cards that you need, and you can sort of get some information in your security. I just like Kari generally just to keep at 3 copies for consistency, so that's one recommendation that I personally have. Next, there's also TK Kari, where if you have less security, you'll be gaining 2 memory at the start of your turn, which is also really good, and you can also suspend them when attacking. When one of your yellow Digimon attacks, you can suspend them to -1000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon. I just don't have enough room to add any more of these sort of Tamers, and I generally feel like I don't really need that much extra memory from the TK Kari just to pull off my combos, so I don't play them, but just again, suggestions. The other one right here is like a mini Mastemon package. Now, this Mastemon package is actually from BT3. This Mastemon right here, and then along with the Mastemon from BT3, you actually want to be playing the Gatomon promo along together because they synergize very nicely together. The old Mastemon gives you a bit more like pressure and aggression when you play it because you trash security and then you can swing for game. Combos also very nicely with the Black Gatomon, so you can do some rush combos right there. If not, with this promo Gatomon right here, it can become a blocker and you can also recover to sustain, which is very nice. And I think it's not a bad add as sort of tech options. And then last but not least, we have another memory boost. Instead of purple memory boost, you can play 1 glaive memory boost and sort of switch out the ratio. You can have 1 glaive and 2 purple memory boosts like that. Because glaive is very similar, it just gives you a bit more of a late game searching. I guess you can grab something back from your trash, which is pretty nice. But generally, I just like the purple memory boost because I think the early game is way more important. That's why I don't play it. So yeah. So now that we got the deck profile completed, let's show you guys a quick few combos that you would sort of run and how to play this deck. So in the early stages of the game, you hatch your egg, of course, and if you can Digivolve into a rookie, then go ahead and do so. If not, it's not like the end of the world, which is fine. So what you actually really want to be seeing is you want to be seeing your Gatomon as soon as possible, whether you're using your memory boosts or your draw power or searches. Whatever you're using or whatever you're doing, you want to see Gatomon ASAP. And once you do, just hard play her. If you're going first, it's actually not too bad. Pay the 5 memory. Don't be afraid. The reason is because there's rarely any card out there that your opponent can respond in their second turn or in their first turn to get rid of this card. And Gatomon is quite susceptible from being deleted. And once if she becomes deleted and if your opponent can remove her, it does become quite problematic because it slows your combo down. Now, with Gatomon searching capabilities, these are all the targets that you want to be hitting and seeing throughout the entire game. Grab whatever you can during the process. Once your opponent passes back to you, you would have 1 memory. And 1 memory is really all you need to pull off like the combos. And what you ideally want to be seeing is your Lady Devimon, because you want to Digivolve for 1 into your Lady Devimon so you can draw 3 cards and trash 2 with her effect. And you're still at 0 memory. And while doing so, you want to be trashing your Beelzemon whenever you can into your trash to set yourself up. Next, the 2 cards you want to be seeing is either the Magna Angemon or the Angelwomon. Once you have these 2 cards, you're ready to go. Just go ahead for it. So let's just say you play the Angelwomon right here for 6. As you guys can see from the combos so far, we're being very generous with our memory. And don't be afraid to do that. That's the mindset you need when playing this particular deck. You have to give your opponent lots of memory. And that's the only way for you to gain your advantages. So once you have the Angelwomon out, it's end of turn, so you can do your end of turn DNA Digivolve into your Mastemon right here. Draw for your Digivolving, and then your Mastemon will allow you to grab your Lucemon from your trash, put it to your top of your security. Now you get to search your security and see what you have, get some information out of there, but most cases you're going to be wanting to play your Lucemon Chaos Mode back out right here. So then your Lucemon Chaos Mode can either pop a level 6 or lower, or pop a Tamer, and then Mastemon's second effect allows you to pop a level 5 or lower because Lucemon Chaos Mode is a level 5. And from there, you just control the board state, take down your opponent's Digimon from there, and then you next, when you pass, they pass back to you and they can't answer your board, you start swinging in aggressively. Angelomon will give it security +1 for 2 checks, and you just keep attacking and attacking until you win from there. And then you basically rinse and repeat this combo. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is once you have this combo established, I mentioned earlier, having Gatomon is a little bit susceptible from removal. So what if you do have raising, you want to be, your second phase of the game plan is to Digivolve your Gatomon inside your raising area, and as long as you have your combo pieces, whether it's like a level 5 purple and a level 5 yellow in your hand, and a Mastemon again, you're good to go. So there's no need to do any more searching realistically. So you can safely have the Gatomon in your raising, and once you're ready, again at 1 member, you can push it out. You know, this time Digivolve for 1 into Lady Devimon ideally, and use her searching effect, and then you put your opponent to 7, play your Magna Angemon, recover 1, and then you can do your end of turn DNA once again into another Mastemon right here and repeat those combos once again. So that's one of the fun things, and that's why this deck can really pop off in the late game and super strong, which is really, really good. And the other thing I want to quickly mention is if you do have Kari on the board, you can also even suspend her because you added a security stack to pass your opponent back to 6. So yeah, that's pretty neat, honestly. And then in alternative cases, when you don't see your Mastemon combo going, Ophanimon is really where she comes in and shines very nicely to, you know, be a powerhouse and help you hold it down for you right there. And so yeah, if you get a level 5, you would Digivolve your Ophanimon on top. You can basically recover and pop stuff because you have the Gatomon underneath at this point. And then you just, all you have to do is simple. You just mad swing with Ophanimon as much as you can into security or into your opponent's Digimon, whatever you need to do to control the board state. And don't be afraid, because if Ophanimon gets deleted, she can play a level 4 back, and you can actually play the Gatomon back and do your searching once again, and your Gatomon will be floating in the battle area so that you can go into your Mastemon combo, which I showed you earlier, which is really nice. Now, on the other hand, let's just say if you don't see Ophanimon in the early game and she comes up more in the late game for whatever reason, you can continue to swing right here, and then you can even play Calling from the Darkness to pop it, and then you can play back the Gatomon, and like I mentioned earlier, if not, you could even play this Black Gatomon from your trash, and then it has Rush to go for another extra swing right there. So really flexible with the Calling from Darkness with the Ophanimon combo, which I really like. That will conclude for my very own deck building strategy and in-depth guide for the Mastemon deck in BT8. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Once again, we got lots more BT8 and EX2 deck profiles and content coming up real soon, so definitely hit that subscribe button right now, turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This is AVAULT, signing out.